Now, in the last segment, you were explaining the progression from integrative to integral medicine. It would be really great if you carried on with that explanation, particularly about integral medicine.
Yes, it is important to, again, to go a little bit more into some of those distinctions. Integrative medicine is a very powerful process, and it's been taking hold a lot more and more in different countries. It's necessary. It's also necessary that integrative further evolve into what is integral. To have an environment that does integral medicine really is qualitatively different from an environment that simply does integrative medicine. As I explained previously, that there is this sort of scale or spectrum of progression in terms of different layers of integrative. Integral represents a qualitative shift. It really is a transformational stage from that integrative stage to something which is truly higher. I've mentioned that so far certain aspects of what makes integral medicine what it is, in terms of the kind of parity, for example, at which the different practitioners work together. Also, from the integral perspective, what is happening within the experience, the personal experience of the patient or client, is equally important for factoring into the overall treatment assessment and planning approaches and service delivery, as is any particular discipline and expertise from any of the members in the integral team. Again, to elaborate a little bit more on that, imagine that in the traditional approaches to healthcare service provision, what the patient felt and believed and understood was secondary to what the practitioner felt and believed and understood. The original model was what we call a top-down model, or paternalistic type of model. As the doctor telling the patient what the patient needs, the patient is asking the doctor, or provider of care, or the healer, whoever, what is it that I need? What is it do you do to me to help me get better? In this process, though, it's very different. Integral, as I've explained in bits and pieces in previous segments, integral is a coming together. It is the coming together in energy, the coming together in consciousness, the coming together in the sharing of values, and in true knowing, this kind of awareness, the true knowing of what is going on between all who are participating in this interaction and this sharing around the healing process or around the service provision process. So, therefore, another important aspect of integral medicine has to be the maintenance of a state of openness by all those who are the providers of the care and the service, and the maintenance of a state of openness by the person who is the receiver of that care or service, i.e. the patient or client. What is that state of openness? Well, in integral medicine, a lot of what is provided is the education around how to attain and how to sustain those states of openness, where the patient or client is herself, himself, feeling resistance, feeling mistrust towards the practitioners, for example. That's an immediate time where it is necessary to take a break, re-examine what that dynamic is. That dynamic has to be brought back into a state of harmony so that there can be more of this kind of openness. If it's coming from the practitioner, herself or himself, they're perhaps too distracted thinking about some of their own stuff. You know, what's going on in my life? I'm thinking about my money, I'm thinking about my family, I'm thinking about my taxes, I'm stressed with my job, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I want a break. This person reminds me of somebody else and I'm getting an uncomfortable feeling. All of these kinds of dialogues, these are things that take place in all of us at any given time as providers of care, and yet this is our internal distraction. This is what's taking place inside of us. This becomes, in the construct of integral medicine, this becomes a toxic influence upon the overall integrality, the overall way in which the energy is supposed to come together. If I'm in a toxic state because I'm distracted, then that toxicity impacts upon my ability to work as part of an integral team, as part of an integral whole, for the betterment of the service provision, for the betterment and impact upon this patient or client. If that person is herself, himself, or any of the other members of the team in some corresponding state of toxicity, the integral medicine construct requires that we give attention to that. So there must be a dedication to knowing, to learning how to sustain this state of openness, this state of non-interference of one's personal stuff in the larger dynamic of this field of interaction with a patient and client. Very important in terms of understanding the qualitative shift that takes place between integrative and integral. Now, to take that a little further, we can talk about the spectrum within integral medicine itself. In integral awareness medicine, the focus is on consciousness. The focus is on state of being. The focus is on the energy field that is existing. As I've mentioned, toxicity of one person in that field contaminates the field. As I've mentioned, it is important for all members of that team, all members in that process, thus all elements within that field, to have a true awareness, a way of witnessing how they are being in any given moment, and that they are witnessing from the program approach, that program approach to sustaining a higher level of awareness. The awareness of self, the awareness of self-projecting into the field, the awareness of the other members of the field, and holding an intention that this level of vibration, so to speak, or this level of resonance within this field be sustained at a very high level. In so doing, then much of the process of healing is already underway, even before there is the exchange of particular bits of information or particular contributions from any given discipline or any given member of the team in the integral awareness environment. Another important issue to understand about integral awareness medicine in terms of this importance of consciousness is to go back to something I mentioned before in a previous segment, and that is that the role of the integral awareness medicine or integral awareness medica practitioner, and we'll speak a little bit on that in the next segment, but part of that role, an essential dimension of that role of the practitioner of integral awareness medicine, is to be able to assist their client, assist their patient in attaining a state of integral awareness mastery. But in essence, we are understanding that the role of the practitioner in integral awareness medicine centers around consciousness, more so than it centers around chemistry or about physical body manipulation, or even about nutrition, or even about the psycho-emotional axis. It centers around consciousness, which is the highest level of our existence. And from that centering in consciousness, we then layer in all of the other aspects, these aspects of the spirit, the mind, the body, the emotions, the physical self, the chemical self, the nutritional self, the psychodynamic self, the environmental relations of a person. And all of these things will layer in. They are layered in from this higher state of consciousness that we are all trained in, and we must all maintain as a personal discipline as the way we hold that dedication to practice integral awareness medicine.